Good evening. Welcome to Hidabrut's English lecture here in Tel Aviv. The focus of this lecture is for singles, and more specifically, dating. We're out there, we're looking for relationships, we're looking for happiness, we're looking to find our special other one that we want to mix up and match up with. We want to find our soulmate, they call it, right? The problem is that for some reason our soulmate keeps slipping away from between our fingers because we've been looking for him for several years and we don't seem to be able to find him. Where is that single soulmate that's supposed to make us happy? And why is it so difficult to find that guy or girl, right? This is the question that drove you guys, made you leave your wonderful TVs and entertainment and whatever bars and clubs and fun and happiness is out there and come here to watch me to find solutions. Right? This is what brought you guys? It's not the pizza, I'm hoping, right? It's good pizza, but it's not that good. Okay, so this is what I would like to be able to answer. The reason I'm out here answering this question is because not that far ago, not that long ago, I was sitting in these seats exactly asking those same questions. I was this secular guy who used to live in Israel, who moved to the United States, who was looking for the same things you guys are looking for. It's all under the same umbrella. It's called happiness, but more specifically, happiness through relationships. How do we get there? And I was dazed, I was confused, I was lost for the same reasons that everybody else is. I looked around me, and if you have a little bit of a brain, you don't jump into it. And why? Because the Torah says that matchmaking is like the parting of the Red Sea. That's what the Torah calls it, the parting of the Red Sea. Why the parting of the Red Sea? Why not, I don't know, the construction of Yerushalayim or the exiting of Egypt? There's a lot of things that happen to us. Why the parting of the Red Sea? Because something very special happened at the parting of the Red Sea. You see, the Egyptians were chasing after the Jewish people. The sea parted, and the Jewish people went in. And behind them, the Egyptians started marching in, trying to catch them. And the sea started closing in on the Egyptians. And they started drowning, but it was only some of them that were in the water. The rest of them were watching the other ones drown, and they still jumped into the water and drowned after them. That's marriage. We see other people drowning, and we jump into the water and say, we want to go in as well, and we're drowning too. And if we got some brain, a little more than the Egyptians had back then, we stop and say, wait a second, what's going on? These guys are drowning, why should I jump in? On the other hand, we've got a burning, yearning sensation inside, screaming, I don't want to be alone. I need someone with me in order to be happy. It's a condition of happiness. It's a condition of happiness. How do I know that? How do I know that one cannot be happy alone? From the Rashid, Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. This is very, very nice. It's true. But what in our life experiences or our knowledge beyond the Torah has brought us to see that one cannot be happy alone? The answer is extremely simple. If we look at the negative side of society, we see that in all societies throughout history, the worst punishment one can get, except for death, is what? Loneliness, be alone. Not only be in prison, be in solitary confinement. What is solitary confinement? We're going to put you away from all the murderers and the thieves and the killers. That should be a good thing, no? Isn't that a good thing? Not to sleep next to a killer? Well, it's better to sleep next to a killer than to sleep alone. That's what history has taught us throughout the days. Until today, it still holds. So we see being alone is the worst punishment one can possibly get, only we're being punished. We don't want to be alone. If we so much want to be together, why isn't it happening? I mean, basically when a guy and a girl go out, they sit on a date, they sit on a table across from each other, right? He looks at her, she looks at him, they have the same goal. What do they both want? They found him, he's sitting in front of him. Hi there. Can't you? To be happy. Nachon? That's what she said? To be happy, to be loved. You want to be loved, I want to be loved. You want to be happy, I want to be happy. You don't want to sleep alone, I don't want to sleep alone. What's left? Yalla, let's go home. Mabaya, you know? I've got a ring somewhere here, you know? Let's seal the deal and say, right? I mean, isn't this how it's supposed to work? So why did I find myself single and without a partner until the age of 27? Where did it get stuck? I started searching very early. I kind of started everything early. I kind of finished high school at 16, university before the age of 17, right? Opened my own business. By the age of 21, I'm good to go. Let's get married. There's nothing else left, right? So what's now? Now I'm spending 6 years unable to do what I want to do. That's very frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. I'm assuming that some of you guys are experiencing the same frustration. By some, I mean all of you. Right? We're all experiencing the same frustration. This is why when I discovered that there is a formula to make it happen, and it's not arbitrary, I felt it as an obligation. I took it upon myself to go out and bring it to everyone. I said, it's not fair. Why should only a few be eligible to receiving this formula? I discovered it. I was given it as a gift. I'd like to spread the wealth and give it to everyone. There is a formula for making this thing happen. It's not an easy formula, but it's a formula that we can all make happen. And that's what we're here for. We're going to start from the end and work our way to the beginning. Because this is how you solve a maze, right? How do you solve a maze? All right. If you want to go from the door and to find the cheese in the middle, you've got almost endless incorrect ways of doing it. There's one correct way from the cheese back to the door. And that's what we want to do. So let's imagine ourselves, let's take a moment and see ourselves happily married. I know it goes against everything you know and feel. Okay? You've been programmed otherwise. Does it make sense to you, by the way, that you've been programmed otherwise? Programmed. I don't mean it, it happened. You've been intentionally programmed to think the opposite. To think that marriage, that place that you're trying to get to, is going to make you miserable. Why is that? You guys are aware that you've been programmed, right? You want me to give you examples of programs? The ways you've been programmed? Who can give me an example of way you're being programmed that happiness is not to be found in a marriage? Let's hear it. None of you ever watched a movie. This is very sad. We're going to have to fix that. Okay? Where in movies does marriage happen in a happy place? Is that it? It's happy in movies, right? They never fight. No one cheats on each other, right? Every single movie, there's marriage issues. Every single one, right? With the exception of that guy that got stuck on a deserted island. Castaway, exactly.
He got mad at his soccer ball.
There we go. He got mad at his soccer ball. The only person on the planet, on the island, and he gets mad at him. But except for that, that's the only movie where a husband and wife did not fight or cheat on each other, right? Let's go to TV shows. Let's go to news. Let's go to celebrities' personal lives. Why go that far away? Who can raise a hand and say they live in a building where no one ever got divorced or parents got divorced? Go ahead, raise your hand. Unless you live alone in a hut somewhere. Okay? So you see, it's all around us. When you call up your friends and you hear the worst agony in their voice, do you need to guess or do you already know what's going on in their lives? Let me guess. Maybe they got a parking ticket. No, car towed? Got fired from a job? Cat got run over? Worst agony, what do you get? Relationships. You don't even need to ask. You call them, you hear them sobbing, relationships. Are we being programmed? Oh yes, we're being programmed. Programming started way far back when we were kids. You know when you saw the most amount of pain on your parents' face? Right after you saw them arguing in the back room. נכון? And then there's this tension that a kid cannot explain, but he suffers through. We've experienced it. And it made us associate marriage with pain, marriage with being vulnerable. So that's why we're afraid. It makes common sense. It's logical. When I was investigating, looking for a way to make a marriage work, I looked around me and I was facing, Jessica, do you remember what the divorce rate was in the United States about 17 years ago?
28%. Wow.
Twe-
First match is 28%, second match is 45%, and then once you get above 3, it's
Are you
65%.
talking about now?
About 10 years ago. Now, I don't know the new numbers, but probably a lot higher. Actually, now, 50% say they don't even believe in marriage.
Very good.
So people like me and Jessica can't out of business.
17 to 20 years ago, the divorce rate in Los Angeles reached above 60. There was a better chance you would get divorced than you would stay married. The joke around was, you would make an excellent ex-wife. Mom, Dad, please meet my future ex-husband, Joe, okay? That was the joke running around. Because that was before people just completely lost faith in marriage altogether and they were getting married. Now the divorce rate went down. You know why? They don't bother getting married. Why get married? Okay? So it's not that the divorce rate went down. It's, okay, so we're being programmed. Marriage is a bad thing. Don't go. But on the other hand, being alone is misery. The whole dating thing is exhausting. It's so exhausting that by the time I met my wife, on the first date, we're out for about 20 minutes. I'm like, look, I'm really not into the dating thing anymore. I'm pretty much looking for a wife. That's how exhausting dating is. It's not so much exhausting time-wise or physically, and for men it is exhausting financially as well. Yeah, it's, what happened to all the equality rights groups? Why nobody's talking about the fact that men are still paying for dates? we gotta work this out, right? So, it was exhausting emotionally. It's kind of like promising a kid that we're gonna go to Disneyland, and 2 days later going, no, we changed our mind, you're staying at home. Isn't that dating? That's dating. You meet somebody and they come along and they go, oh, I'm their best, I'm the greatest, you're so lucky to go out with me. And you go, you know, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. And you get all excited. Wow, it's a yofi. And you call up all your friends and they go, how was the date? Because everybody's got to know you're on a date. So they got to ask, how was the date, right? So you got to, this is why we got Facebook, just to make it easier. You just post it there, everybody knows, instead of all the 15 phone calls you need to make. So there you go. You go, oh, it was great. It was fantastic. It was fabulous. 3 days, weeks, months later, somebody comes and takes a needle and goes, pops your bubble. Everything blows. And you go back to, oh, life sucks. Everything is miserable. I need a bucket of ice cream. Right? Until eventually, even when you meet, by the way, when I'm talking guys and girls, for now, I'm talking reversible, right? Because the guys also like the ice cream. So now we go on a date. The date went great. We come back. They ask us, how was it? And what do we say? Oh, kacha. Why? We don't want to get all excited. We don't want to get all excited. The bigger the bubble, right? When you make a gum bubble that's this big and it blows, it's everywhere, right? Make it little bubbles. So we don't get excited anymore. Forget about it. Oh, it was kacha kacha. What do you mean kacha kacha? It's a great guy. Kacha kacha. We're already expecting the failure. And that's sad. Mama's sad. It shouldn't be this way. So on the first date, I'm like, wife. Well, I didn't call her wife then. Called her Karen. I'm kind of done with the dating thing. If this is what you're looking for, maybe I should refer you to some of my friends. They'd love to date you. You're fun, you're funny. You know, I'm looking not for something serious, because I'm not looking for something serious. I'm looking for something with a lot of humor and fun. I don't want anything serious. I'm looking for a wife. I said, you know, I'm kind of done with the whole dating thing too. I'm like, serious? So yeah, you know, looking for marriage? Yeah. Order something, we'll be here for a while. We're in a restaurant and might as well order something because we need to talk. That was the first 20 minutes of our date. Wouldn't it be great to have a date like that, where people knew what they were looking for? Right? Number one complaint from women, now the sexist part is coming out. Now I'm talking, number one complaint of women that call me and to nag to me about the date they were on. Why can't I find a man who, go ahead, complete the sentence, knows what he wants? Why can't I find a man who can make a decision? I'm like, what's the problem? He couldn't even pick a place to sit. It took him longer than me to pick something out of the menu. So what? It's very funny. The indecisive sex is complaining about the other sex not being able to decide. I'm going to say it again because it didn't sink through so well. The indecisive sex is complaining about the other sex not being able to decide. Where's the justice? Where's the fairness? It's fair. They need to decide. People need to come into the date knowing what they want before they come in. If you don't know what you want, don't show up to the date. So here we go to the practical side. We're starting the coaching process of the evening. You ready? Sit down alone with yourselves. Imagine, against all odds, yourself happy in a marriage 10 years from now. And if you can't do it in one sitting, come back tomorrow and try it again. Just imagine it. Imagine yourself happy 10 years from now. Not tomorrow, not next month. 10 years from now, you're happy. Now start describing your life in words. What do you do? Who's your husband? What is he like? Do you have kids? How many? What are they like? How does your day look? Then you break it down. Break it down to the make it or break it. I'd like to live in a beautiful beach house in Herzliya. Is it a make it or break it? Was life a waste if I didn't get a beach house in Herzliya? No, I don't mind getting a little apartment in, I don't know. Are there? Let's not get carried away. Okay? You know, Ramat Gan. Okay? Right? So it's not a make it or break it. My husband is this tall, handsome, beautiful guy. Now, let's say he's not that tall and he's not that handsome, but he's a very nice guy. Is that still, can it still happen, or is that a make it or break it? No, if he's not tall or handsome, forget about it, I don't want any of it. Right? Break it down to the make it or break it. It's exactly like a job interview. It's like a deal. It's like a business deal. You go in, you're asking for the most you think you can get. Oh, we're going to talk about that one. What you guys think you can get. You know, the difference between hoping high and being disillusioned. We'll talk about it in a minute. But you know what you'll settle for. And you know what you won't go away without, what's your bottom line. But you got to come in knowing this stuff. This is how I walked into a date. My first date with my wife, before that I already knew what I was looking for. I knew what was my make it or break it. And I looked for them first. Boom, 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 marked them on my list. I also had a list of bonuses, what would be nice to get. I marked a few of them off the list as well. So that halfway through the meal, not on the first date, right? But halfway through one of our meals together, when I figured that I've got all of my make it or break it checked off, and some of my bonus parts checked off, I raised my hand from the plate. I turned to her and I said, I'm going to marry you. And I continued eating. How far down the road was that? That was our third date. Now, I'm not saying do it in 3 dates. Relax, guys, it's okay. Take deep breaths. We're not going to do it in 3 dates. But this is how fast it's possible to do. Okay? So if it's taking you 9.5 months to decide if you want to marry the guy or the girl, you're not running through the process correctly. We follow? It's not that you're slower than Paz Laghai, you're just not doing it right. You can drive slower than me. It takes me about 17 minutes to get from here to Bnei Brak. But if it's taking you 4.5 hours to get to Bnei Brak, you're not driving to Bnei Brak. You're somewhere. I don't know where, but it's got nothing to do with the fact that you're a slower driver than I am. We get the analogy? You gotta know the road. Take as long as you need, but stay on the road. What's the road? First step within the road is to know where you're going. This is why we don't settle. A lot of people tell me, I kind of settled with her. Okay, enlighten me. Where's the settling part? You know, I hoped or wished of getting somebody maybe prettier, maybe smarter, and I settled. That's not called settling. That's called reality. We get the idea? Settling is knowing you've got something better, but it's going to take longer, and you'll settle for doing it now for less. That's called settling. When you don't have any other option, that's not called settling. You get the idea? It's like being on the beach, and there's only one ice cream stand that's only selling one kind of ice cream, and you settled and you bought that ice cream. That's not called settling. That's what you got. Okay? And this is what we don't do on dates for some reason. We go out, we think we know what we want, but we don't break it down to make it or break it. So anything beyond our fantasy is already settling. So once he's not as tall and handsome as we expected, and not as rich and not as educated as we expected, we're already doing him a favor, we're marrying him. Isn't that the case, my dear matchmakers? Nachon? This is what they feel like. Whereas if you start from the opposite direction, what's the minimum you need to seal the deal? And you find that in the person sitting across from you. Anything else you discover within them is what? A bonus, a great bonus. How happy are you now to marry them? You see the difference between a great guy and a not so great guy, in a lot of cases, your perspective. The way you come in and look at things, it's not the guy. It can't be that everybody you meet is not good. Maybe it's our perspective. Just food for thought. Let's go on to the next point. There's a lot that happens even when we meet the right guy, and even when we come with the right perspective, that breaks down along the way just because of technicalities. But it's technicalities that we could potentially avoid. These are technicalities we could have made not happen. Let me give you an example. What's the number one thing that guys are looking for in a woman on a first date?
Somebody who's interested in that.
Can't hear you.
Somebody who acts like they care what he has to say. Because guys think somebody, not somebody who they think cares what they have to say.
Okay, so Ariel is saying that men are looking for someone who cares about what they say. It's true. It's just not number one.
They're looking at looks. Yeah. That's what all my clients do.
Nachon, that's also the case, it's looks, but it's a subsection of looks. There's something more important than looks that's in your control. Your looks are not so much in your control. I mean, you're pretty much born this way, you can slightly improve it, but that's pretty much it.
Comparison.
Can't hear you?
I would say comparison. Compare the person to what your ideologies are.
To compare to a person to our ideologies, correct. This is something that runs subconsciously in our minds, and we do it automatically. But we're looking for, and Jessica said it, and she said it beautifully, and she said it loud. Go ahead, say it again. A smile. Men are looking for the smile. Because when a woman smiles at them, then they are smart and successful and handsome. Okay, that's what the smile means, in case you were not told that when you were young. This is what a smile means to a guy, that he's great. And if you make him feel great, then you are beautiful and you're smart, even without spending hours in the gym and a fortune in the hair salon and the other salons and whatever you do. Okay? You can leave the Gucci back at home, you'll still be beautiful if you smile. Because it's intoxicating in a man's brain, and I mean it literally. It intoxicates his brain. When a woman smiles at a man, his brain releases chemicals that are very similar to the illegal stuff you guys go out there and pay a lot of money for. Okay? You can get it for free. Just have her smile. And people don't show up with a smile. You know what they show up with? Oh, expectations. They show up with a red light from the Mossad, with a bright red light, and the magnifying glass, and his Facebook page. And if they could, they would tie him to an electrical machine, and they go, tell me the truth, who's that one on page number 3? Come on, be honest, that's my sister. I don't believe you. Okay. That's how it runs. This is and that's the first date. Okay? Why are you guys laughing? You know it's true. This is sad. You guys should be sad about this. This is how we're running dates. I'm not even talking about the guys showing up on a date. Oof. Should I mention that one? I don't want to embarrass them even further, you know? Equal opportunity offender, right? Okay. So this is what's difficult for women. When they show up on a date and they see the guy and he's all dazed and confused about what he's supposed to do. What am I supposed to smile, laugh, support, deliver pizza? I don't know. I have no idea what my job here is. I'm here. I knew I'm supposed to come here. I came here. No idea what's next. You know, please lead. And you go, I'm not going to lead. I need you to lead. Say, me, I lead. You know, that's your job. Forget about this. 70s, we made equality. No jobs. I'll wash the dishes, you lead. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Did that describe 90% of first dates? Just with a show of hands. 80%?
95.
Thank you, Ariel, the matchmaker. 95. 95% of first dates. That's so sad. You see, we fall on technicalities. You want to know how you go on a date? Let me tell you how you go on a date. You go on a date like it's not a date. You go on a date like you're meeting an old friend for dinner. That's how you go on a date. I was matchmade, even though I was secular. But a mutual friend of mine and my wife decided to play matchmaker. Later on, she said, look, I'm looking for a backdoor entrance to heaven. You know, I don't know if they're going to let me in through the front door. I got to get in somehow. I heard if you matchmake people, you get in. So I decided to put you guys together. How did she do it? She didn't say, hey, Karen, I know this great guy for you. Maybe you want to go out with him. And she didn't come to me and said, Paz, I know this great girl. Maybe you want to go out with her. You know what she did? She just brought her in and arbitrarily introduced her amongst a group of friends. And when a natural, light, very, very light connection happened, and I say it again, very light connection. We don't need more than that to start anything. Then I decided to take initiative. I don't know, I'm old. Back in the days, they told me that men are supposed to take the initiative. So I did, you know. Men listening, right? Back in the days, they told us men are supposed to take initiative. So men, take initiative. So that's what I did. I called up. And I told myself, look, does she know me? Does she know who I am? She knows me? She doesn't know me. We just met kind of. She knows anything about me. If I'm compassionate, if I'm cruel, if you know, I like Tetris, she knows nothing about me, right? So if she refuses to go out with me, is she refusing to go out with me, or is she just altogether doesn't want to go out? Is she refusing to go out with what's a figment of her imagination, or with me, Paz Laghai? Whom is she refusing to? She's refusing her imagination. What do I care? That's between her and her imagination. Let them fight together. I'm going to give it a shot. You see, I have nothing to lose. So I called her up and I said, I'd like to go out. We went out, and it was great. Because there were no expectations. The whole running through my head, the list of the make it or break it, that does not happen on the date. You see, that's the mistake. People are sitting on a date like they're sitting on a job interview thinking by the end of the date, I'm going to have to answer whether I'd like to marry this person or not. That's I wouldn't be able to last that kind of stress. No wonder you people are older alcohol. This is very stressful. But if you're going on a date just to have a nice evening, you go home and afterwards, by the way, reflecting on a date, yeah, you're going to have to do this very difficult thing of putting Facebook, TV, computers, telephones, and friends aside and actually think. It's difficult, but you can do it. You've been given the tools. And you'll have to think and reflect on how your date was. And who's the person you're facing? And is this person, not somebody you'd like to marry, but somebody who's got the potential of going out on a second date with? You know what's going to happen? You will be a lot of fun in dates. You will be great in dates. People are going to enjoy going out with you. They're going to open up to you. You're going to see who they really are. If you leave expectations aside, you know what you're leaving aside? Criticism. Because if you don't expect anything, how can you criticize? Right? If you don't expect anyone or anything special, is there anything to criticize? No. So if you come without criticism, you know what happens to people? What happens to me? People around me don't shut up. Oh, it's unbelievable. I can sit anywhere. Anywhere I go, I have to hide. You know why? Because I don't have criticism in me. No criticism. Be whoever, whatever you want. I'm good. What, really? You're not going to criticize? No. Oh, I've got so many things to share. It's a good thing you came. And then you discover who you're sitting across from. And you still don't criticize them. You don't have to marry them. But why would you criticize them? We get the idea? You don't form them to what you want. You look to see if they are what you want. So there's never criticism. That's the greatest date on the world. Go out, have fun, fantastic conversation. You talk, you share. You are who you really are. And if it is a right match, good. And if it's not the right match, great. Move them over and make room for the next one. Now, this is what I was told dating is about. We all have the same perception of dating. This is what we want to look for. Basically, anyone you ever go out with, if receive the phone call and ask, how's that person? They should say, that person is great. We didn't happen to be a good match, but it's a great person. You're lucky if you marry them. That's how every single date should end. Nachon?
Yeah.
The dating world is so small, especially in Israel. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody. Why would you want to ruin your name? You want a good name out there. Women come in smiling. Men come in with a plan. Yes, plan 1, plan 2. You want the list of things that a man should come in with a date with? It goes like this. First of all, before you leave the house, you should know at least 2 different locations you're going to go to. 2 separate ones. You should know the address, you should know how to get there, you should program them into your ways. You should be courteous though. You show up and you ask, hi, where would you like to go to? And the answer you're going to get is, wherever you want. I don't mind. Okay? Now, they don't mean wherever you want, because if you want to go into a cabin in the middle of the forest, they don't want to go with you. Okay? So don't believe them. It's not wherever you want. What is wherever you want? What's the translation of wherever you want?
Respectable.
Can't hear you.
Go to a respectable place.
No, that's not the translation either.
Restaurant.
The translation is, you're now being tested.
Safe and fun.
You are being tested. I'd like to know who you are. Go ahead, tell me where you'd like to take me. Okay? But even more than where you take her, the question is how. Do you know where you want to go or not? The correct answer to, I don't mind, or wherever you want is, great, excellent, get in the car. Let's start driving. We get the idea? How long can a man take to pick something out of the menu? Go ahead. What's the maximum time a man can take to pick something out of a menu? 18 seconds. Holy moly, are you harsh? Okay. Anyone else? 3 minutes. You want her to sit there staring at you for 3 whole minutes, picking a sandwich. Go ahead. 1 minute. Very generous. The answer is 0. Give back the menu. Just take something you know there's everywhere. Just bring me a sandwich. Who cares? I want to focus on the person in front of me. I don't care about it. Just don't even give me a menu. Just bring me a coffee and a cake and leave us alone. Let me talk to her. That's it. You're 4 minutes into the date. You already got her. She's 80% yours. Just don't screw it up from here. Am I correct or not? Ladies, go ahead. Just nod if you agree. Yeah? You see? It's so easy. And this is what happens. You failed 90% of the test in the first 5 minutes by, I don't know, where do you want to go? No, where do you want to go? No, would you like coffee or a movie maybe? So it's the first day. Why do I want to see a movie? I came here to see you. I mean, come on. We're going to see Brad Pitt. You're not in competition. You're going to fail the competition. We're going to walk out of the movie theater. I'm not going to be able to look at you. Why would you take me to a movie? Right? Sitting there, he goes, okay, if it's taking him 7 minutes to pick a sandwich, how long is it going to take him to pick a name for our firstborn? Yes, guys, this is what's going through their heads. Okay? The answer is, by his bar mitzvah, we should be able to find a name for him. Come on. Okay? You know how I order, even 13 years into the marriage? Very simple. Waitress, I'm hungry. Bring me something that's going to fill me up. Thank you for coming. Okay, I didn't go out on a date with my wife finally when we managed to, you know, put all the kids to sleep and knock them out. And, and we're finally on a date. I didn't come here to spend my time picking what kind of dressing I want for my salad. Just go, come back with something delicious. If it's not, I'm never coming back here again and you're not getting a tip. Go. Zeda? And that's it. Let me spend time with her. What do you talk about on the first date? Can't hear you. Weather. Okay. Well, let me tell you what you're not going to talk about on the first or second or ninth date. You ready? There's an old folk saying. It says that big people talk about big things, philosophy, politics, matters of the world. Middle people, average people, talk about little things, weather, soccer games, you know, fun. Little people talk about other people. You don't want to be little people. And if you are, at least don't let her know that. Okay? And I'm back to talking about both sexes, by talking about other people. On the first, at the beginning of the list is all your exes from both sides. That's not a subject for conversation. Until?
Never.
Very good. Never. Ever. And what if she insists?
Say, you want me to speak, you would never want me to speak about you that way, so why should I speak about others that way?
So you're already on a date with her, and you're going to refer to her like an ex. Not a good idea. You see, he said, talk to her, tell her, you know, you wouldn't want me to talk about you this way. You don't want, she's going to be your wife. You're not going to get to talk to her about this, this way. What's the answer if she insists?
Not relevant.
You first.
The answer is, I don't talk about these issues with an exclamation mark, not with ... We follow the answer? Men? The answer is, I don't talk about that. So tell me, how do you like your work? Do you like your job? Are you looking for something different? And if she still exists and insists, what do you do now?
Repeat the phrase.
Or order the check. We get the idea? We don't talk about other people. So what do we talk about? We talk about weather, we talk about fun things. We bring up things that associate in our mind with positive issues. Tell me about your last trip. Where would you like to visit in the world? Tell me about your hobbies. Do you have nephews you like? Where did you used to go in summer camp when you were a kid? Bring up anything positive. Okay? Connect yourself associatively with positive things in their mind. So that when they go home and they think about you, what comes along with you? All the positive things, that's right, all the fun stuff that you guys shared. Not necessarily doing fun experiences together. That's not necessarily the point. The point, you can do it verbally. Because let's say you go bowling and you have fun. Is it going to be as fun as their last trip to Europe? No. So I can just sit here in a coffee shop and associate myself with the most amount of fun they had already just by conversation. So far so good? Let me give you an insight into men and women's minds. You know when you really get to know them? when they let their guard down. You know what it takes to make a person drop their guard? Thank you, Tel Aviv people. Yes, alcohol was one of the answers, true. Okay. And if that doesn't work, you can just bring the nargila with you, right? Okay. We're gonna skip straight to the practical part, where we use 3 things to make the person drop their guard. The first one is a smile. The second one is no criticism. And the third is when they're talking about pleasant things. That's when they drop their guard, and little tiny things about their true personality slips in between the cracks. Because when 2 people are meeting, first, second, third date, you know who they're meeting? The other mask. They're meeting the mask. They're 2 imposters. Right? They're like in the movies where you've got no. Thank you, Hollywood, Jessica. When you've got 2 spies meeting in a table, right? They don't come and say, "Hi, I'm a spy from England." "Oh, hi, I'm a spy from Germany. How are you?" You know? They put on a show, and they played the show all the way through. Right? Everybody saw James Bond. How do you know who the person is? Well, the easiest thing is let them drop their guard. Give them a smile. Drop criticism altogether. And talk about fun. Things will slip between the cracks. That's when you get to know who's sitting across from you. And I've got news for you. In most cases, you'll be positively surprised. I work in a job where this is what I do for a living. I sit across from people. I do life coaching. I do marriage coaching. If you think that I pay any attention to what they're telling me in the meeting, you're completely wrong. You think I believe a wife talking about her husband in marriage counseling? The answer is no. I don't. Do I listen to the men? No. So how do I do this marriage counseling thing? You know, come on, have some wine together, enjoy yourselves, everything will work itself out. Thank you for coming, good night. How do I do this? The answer is I have to break beyond the masks, beyond the pain, beyond the overrated expectations, and get to the person. And you know what I discovered there day after day, person after person? Amazing people. Amazing, beautiful people. I have yet to meet someone that I did not see the beauty in them. They don't exist. They might exist. I haven't run into them. I'm new at this. I've only been doing this for 7 to 9 years. I might run into them someday. I have yet to meet somebody whom you cannot see the beauty within them. And when you see the beauty within them, you don't see them anymore. You stop seeing them. Some people ask me, how are you friends with such and such person? How do you associate? I say, it's very easy. I'm associated, I'm friends with them. Not with their image, their looks, the media, the money, not even the behavior. All you have to do is spend a little bit of time restraining yourself from your natural tendencies of bitterness, complaining, talking about other people, and criticizing. And the other person will just open up and it'll be right there for you. It's difficult not to connect to people. That's the reality. You know what's the average number of text messages my friends and I send to each other?
0.
0.
And what's that?
Serious? You want to open that can of serious? And Facebook, and you know what? Look me up on WhatsApp. What does it say?
I should look you up right now.
Yeah, look it up.
When is he last seen?
The answer is you just better call me. And when you're going to call me, you know what I'm going to tell you? When are we meeting? Don't tell me any stories. I don't care how your child's graduation was. Just, I want to know the time and place.
You were on at 3:58.
Nachon?
That's not that long ago.
Nachon? And what does it say? Better call me.
No, I actually deleted it on mine.
Very good. You see? Call me. And when you call me, I'll tell you, meet me. And when you meet me, you'll get a big hug. Because that's what friends do. Ariel, you'll get a hug. Don't worry about it. You're safe. You get the idea? This is what friends do. Which brings us to our next level. You see, when we go on a date, we have a lot of expectations. I'm going to give you a deep insight into yourselves. The more you're going to look at it, the more you'll be amazed and things will make sense. So pay close attention. I'm about to open you up to yourself. You see, there are a lot of mechanisms out there feeding on your misery. There is multi-billion-dollar machines out there working that cannot run unless you're miserable. You get the idea? You cannot be happy. Because happy people don't buy things they don't need. Happy people don't spend crazy money doing things they don't want to do. This is not what happy people do. Happy people don't spend money they don't have trying to impress people that don't care about them. This is not what happy people do. You get the idea? So you need to be miserable. How do we make that happen? It's very simple. We make you miserable a little at a time. Remember the satisfaction people used to have from going to work and doing something that they believed in? Well, that's gone. That's gone. A very few of us. Very, very few of us. Okay? And even then, we very, very rarely hear the appreciation. As long as they pay. Okay. Fair? We get the idea? So there is a little bit, or a lot, lacking from this corner inside of us that has to do with happiness from what we do 8 to 10 hours a day. Fine, lo nora. At least we have good friends. Well, how's that going on? Right? All you have to do is get a landline, let everybody know you've disconnected all other forms of media, and report to me at the end of the month how many minutes have you talked on it. What happened to the days where a person would come to you, shake your hand, and tell you, happy birthday? Right?
No need.
Can't hear you.
No need.
No need. Right? What do we do now?
Post on their wall.
We post on their wall. And if you're smart, you get an app that does it automatically, so you don't even have to do it.
Or invent the app that does that.
Right? You go in there and you go, everybody's got a birthday, anniversary, just tell them how much you love them, go. Okay? So they're developing a relationship with your application. They're in love. Right? How sad is that? Don't worry about it. It's okay. At least you've got the kids. So you go home to your kids and you go, hi, honey. And he goes, hi, honey is after I get the Wi-Fi password. And a new tablet.
An Xbox.
And an Xbox. And now that I've got the Wi-Fi password, tablet, and Xbox, why do I need to talk to you anymore? I'll be in my room, do not disturb. I'm in a home, visiting someone. And the wife gets, the mother, the wife of the house, gets a message, and she lights up, and she goes, oh, how sweet. My daughter wants me to warm up food for her. You know, so when she comes over, it's already warm. I say, wow, this is very caring. What a magnificent mother you are. When is she going to be here? So as soon as I heat it up, where's she coming from? She's in a room. Okay, what happened to mommy? May I please have something to eat? Yes, dear, I would love to make you something to eat. Thank you, mommy. You're welcome, child. You know, the simple interaction that fill up our hearts, they're gone too, right? Neighbors. I spoke to a couple. They said, I'm sorry, we're having difficulty coming tonight. We're going to be an hour late because we can't find a babysitter. Ask just the neighbor to seat your child and come on over. Are you crazy? I have no idea who my neighbors are. I go, oh, you're new in the neighborhood? No, we've only been living here for 3 years. You guys are laughing. Is it different here? How sad is that? I also don't know all the people in my house all the time. I have no idea. As last I checked, my wife and I had 5 kids. Last I checked in my house, there's never 5 kids. There's either 2 or 15, and I have no idea who they are. But that place is also missing. So we take all these gaps, relationship with the parents, whoosh, down the toilet, with the brothers and sisters, never existed, all the little gaps inside. Media makes us feel horrible about our looks. Horrible. Why do we look so bad? Did our grandmothers look worse than we did? Or better? Because they were fine with themselves. They did not spend so much money to look better. They definitely didn't go, 16 hours a week to the gym. Why do I need to feel bad about the way I look? Who made this? God made it. Mara. But we've got that going on as well. So we take all these little gaps, we put them all together, and we've got a big hollow thing inside. And how do we try to fill it?
Buying stuff.
Can't hear you.
Buying stuff.
Yeah, we've tried that for the last 20 years, doesn't work. How are we going to fill it?
So you're trying to get the right partner, have a relationship.
I'm going to try to get a relationship. If I get the right partner, they're going to fill me up. And then we go and we examine this person sitting across the table from us. Even if we date them for the next 6 months, we're constantly trying to get them to fill what? Not the void of a partner. That's one void. We're trying to get them to fill the whole void. Now let me ask you a question. Can any one element in your life fill the void created by all the other elements in your life? Is it possible? If you're amazing at your job, there's no one like it in the world, is it going to fill the void of everything else? If you are the most valued member of your community, is it going to fill the void of everything else? No. Why would you expect the poor person across the table from you to fill that void? This is the root of the unrealistic, completely psychopathic expectations we come into the relationship with. This is the root. The root has got nothing to do with the relationship. The root has got to do with the fact that we feel tiny little voids all around. You want to be able to come with realistic expectations to your relationship? Make sure your life is well balanced. You want to marry somebody who's going to have realistic expectations from you? Make sure their life is balanced. Make sure they're relatively happy with work and growing. Make sure their self-growth is happening. they're doing some self-growth, and no, getting a degree in whatever is not self-growth. You don't become a better person by having a degree or knowing more. That does not make you a better person. Self-growth is making you a better person. What are you doing for your self-growth? That should be growing. Your relationship with your environment, your community, your friends, that needs to be in growth. When all of that is in growth, and all those voids are going and shrinking down, the only void left is a relationship. Can a partner fill a gap of a relationship within you? The answer is yes. Good. Now you can make it happen.
Self-growth is not so fashionable anymore. It's fun. The moment has to be fun.
What he's saying is that it's not in fashion anymore. It's not up to date
What does that mean?
to be self-growth.
I don't know what you mean.
Today, if you want to be fashionable, if you want to be up to date, if you want to be wanted, your title should be fun.
Not your fault.
I don't think they contradict.
You can't.
I think that if you go into self-growth, you can grow your fun as well. You see, my wife and I share very, very little fun things in common. She has a taste in music, or so she says. I don't believe that's a taste, but that's what she likes, you know? And she cannot stand any of my music. And don't get me wrong, I tried. Okay? We don't even call the same activities fun. Unless you're sliding down some mountain without a parachute and a bear chasing after you, it's kind of boring for me. For her, excitement is, let's try out a new flavor of Nescafe. Not the same kind of fun. Do we have fun together? The answer is yes. How do you do that? How do you do? If my fun is different than her fun, how do you have fun together? Let's hear it. How do you do it?
Do what the other person likes sometimes.
So I need to now drink weird kinds of Nescafe, and she needs to chase down the mountain with me, with the bear chasing us.
She watches from the window as you get chased by the bear and watch chocolate.
and I watch her from the window drinking the Nescafe. Okay, we watch it. How do we do it? What are we going to do now? We want to have fun together.
You talk.
Can't hear you.
You talk.
We talk. It's true. We talk. Our fun is connecting to each other. Don't get me wrong, I still have my activity fun. I take my friends and we go do crazy stuff, and she sits with her girlfriends and drinks weird kinds of Nescafe. We connect. That's our fun. There's all kinds of fun. I have fun with friends. I have fun at work. I have fun with my children. I have fun with my wife. They've got nothing to do with each other. My wife will not replace the lack of friends. You want to have friend fun, what should you do? What should you do? Go out with your friends. I would like to have fun with my kids. I don't get to see them so much. Do I go to my wife and I go, Poopy mommy, you are so cute, I missed you. Here, I bought you candy? No, we don't mix funs. Make time, be with your kids. We get the idea? Your husband's not going to be a replacement for your friends. So yeah, we should be fun. But the fun we have with the wife is not the fun we have with our friends, is not the, and so on and so forth.
So if you found so much in self-growth and you
No, they don't. They don't, the satisfaction from work became how many digits you earn. Satisfaction from community became leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. I agree. This is what we're here to fix. We would like to build well-balanced people. What we're going to do is we're going to go out there and start having fun on dates. We're going to take this information, we're going to go out there, we're going to take a piece of pen and a paper, and we're going to write down how we would like to see our vision, our life in 10 years. We're going to break it down to make it or break it and go out and have fun. Come home and then take out the list. Not on the date. On the date, you've got two devils sitting on your shoulders. Devil one is saying, this person is here to screw your life. He's going to mess up your life. Devil two is sitting on your shoulder saying, listen to the first guy. They're going to screw up your life. Some voice inside of you is going to say, oh, but he looks so nice. He's so kind. He's kind of cute. And devil one is going to jump on and says, isn't that what Sima said about her boyfriend before he ruined her life? Weren't these exactly the same words? You get the idea? You do this, and you do that, click, and you just go have fun. Come home. You don't want to go on a date with a guy? You don't want to go on a second date with a guy? Don't play around with him. Don't tell him, look, I'll call you back, I'll say, call him up and say, look, I had a great time with you. Voice, yeah? You guys remember making voice phone calls? Yeah? You call up the person and say, look, I had a great time with you. I really enjoyed it. You're a great guy. And I'm a great girl. None of this, it's not you, it's me. It's not me. I'm perfectly okay. And it's not you either. You're perfectly okay too. You see, there's nothing wrong with the Samsung battery, and there's nothing wrong with the Nokia phone. They just don't go together. It's not that one of them has to be bad. We're not a very good match. But I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you wish me the same. And if I ever run into somebody who I think is a good match for you, I'll bli neder pass your number. And I hope you'll do the same. And go on. Fair? Good? Let's try it. Now, this was a shaving of the tip of the iceberg of what we need to learn about how to make relationships happen the right way. I try to give you a little of everything. I try to give you a little bit of building yourselves. I try to give you a little bit of balancing yourselves, a little bit of how to approach relationships, and a little of what to look for in yourselves and in the other person. I'll give you a little food for thought for our next sessions. You ready? Before you leave the house, think to yourself. Not what you're looking for, not what you expect, not what you think you're going to meet. Think to yourself the following question. Whomever I'm going to meet tonight, if they're going to be fantastic and they're going to like me and I'm going to like them and we're going to get married, are they lucky to be marrying me? That's food for thought. Be'ezrat Hashem uvli neder, in future sessions, we will learn how to answer yes to that question. Thank you very much for coming tonight. In a couple of minutes, we're going to start our question-answer session, a 5-minute break. Okay, question-answer session. I see nobody bothered with the anonymous one, so you're all bold and brave. You want to ask your own questions. So Ariel, you want to go first? You have no questions. You have no questions. By the way, the questions don't have to be about dating. They can be about relationships, self-growth. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise? You know, anything you want. Chicken came first or the egg?
Actually,
The answer is, by the way, the chicken. Very good. Very good. Kol hakavod. Kol hakavod. Chicken came first.
the moments this realize, they seem suddenly like, wait, they figured it out too.
There we go.
The question I get as a matchmaker all the time, when they hear from me, they don't trust me. Okay, the funniest one is, okay, something funny that they always ask. How tall is he? Yeah.
Oh.
Girls,
Oh.
girls, you're not that tall, okay? So don't have to
Okay, did you guys hear the question?
height.
The question women are concerned with the most before meeting a guy is how tall is he? You see, it's kind of like furniture shopping. Men ask how tall, how wide they are. Women ask how tall they are. We're furniture shopping, right? Well, why is it? Why is it that women are so concerned with height? What is the thing? You know, he can show up missing an eye. It's going to be better than if he shows up short, right? Why is that?
Biology. That's how.
So why don't they ask how muscular he is?
They do.
That's not the first question. Some do, okay? Or I don't know, his genetic background, has he been tested? What's the deal with height?
What's the deal with pretty girls? Just there.
Hold on.
Oh, no. Mamash lo.
But what did he just ask?
He asked, what's the deal with pretty girls? Why are men concerned with pretty girls? Why are women concerned with height? Okay? Join us in the crowd, please. I don't. Okay? The answer is simple. It has several elements within them. Element number one is social pressure. Social pressure. The first thing a girl thinks when she sees a guy on a date is, you know what? I think my friends and family will like him. Or, how am I going to show my face with this guy around? Same thing with men. The only thing is that other men are going to be judging him based on how pretty she is. Other women will be judging her based on metrage. Let's measure it. See, okay. Yep, he's good. You know, it's kind of like you have to be this tall to pass, to go on this ride. You know, it's the first element in it is social pressure.
That's not the first element. The first element is what you said earlier, unrealistic expectations of perfection.
True, but we're talking about why necessarily height? Why specifically height?
We're talking about looks, and she has to be a certain pretty.
No. She has to be a certain pretty, and he's got to be a certain height. And the reason for that, let me say it this way. If we were on a deserted island with our unrealistic expectations, we wouldn't mind it so much. Now, there are deeper psychological issues about it as well. Height, for some reason, is confused with authority. Beauty is somehow confused with innocence of heart, being emotionally kind. These things have nothing to do with each other. Okay? I am tall, and I could be walking down the street with you. And if an Arab runs behind us with a machete, I'm going to run faster than you. Okay? And some of the cruelest women I've met, God gave them very pretty faces. Don't disillusion yourselves into this. Kindness of the heart has nothing to do with physical looks. Authority, being there for you when you need him, has got nothing to do with height or physical strength. Okay? So that's that one.
Good family.
Raga?
Good family. They're like, oh, he comes from a great family.
Yeah.
That means?
So did Esav. Esav also came from a good family. You know who Esav is? Okay. Esav came from a very good family. Anybody wants to marry him? No? Okay. Yes, you had a question.
My question is with certain people that have a certain exotic career or whatever like that, where they're required to be away from a person for some amount of time. And it's a career that a person chose. How can that relationship
Excellent question. What's your name?
Yeah, sure.
Yoshua. Did you hear Yoshua's question? Yoshua's question is very simple. A person's got an exotic career. He collects coconuts. Okay? And there are no coconuts in Israel. So he's got to be away for 6 months out of the year. How can you make a relationship work if you're away 6 months out of the year? Tough one, right? Very difficult. The answer is it's difficult, but it's not impossible. It's difficult, but not impossible. There are a few things that need to happen. First things first, on the first year of your marriage, you don't get to be apart.
You can take her with you.
Okay, the first year of your marriage, you don't get to be apart.
Impossible.
Okay. Beseder? What's the problem then?
You can take the person with me jobs that are
Okay. If that's the case, then it's going to take a long time to build stability, which means that for the times you are here, you will have to be 100% here. You don't get the privileges of other men. You don't get the privileges of not being available. You don't get the privileges of, I'm busy now, I can't answer the phone. You don't get a lot of privileges. If you can make that happen, you can make marriage happen. Otherwise,
it's one thing that is always comes up all the time. Everybody asks me.
נכון?
You know, on most of the dates I go out on.
נכון?
Because I'm an engineer. So
You're in?
I'm
Engineer, oil.
Okay,
Yeah, so I'm all around the world.
I understand.
So they would, most of the time when I tell a woman that, I tell them from the first, I say, this is what I do for a living. It's a nice living, it's a great job, and I only work 6 months a year. So
I-
it flaws them, but it's like,
I understand.
what am I going to do with a man who's gone for 6 months?
No, the issue is not so much for the rest of the life as the beginning when you build the foundation. You see, at the beginning of your marriage, specifically on the first year of your marriage, you're building the foundation of your marriage. The foundation of your marriage is almost completely built around the first year. So much so that if war breaks, the Torah says, all of your brothers are going to go to war, you stay at home, stay with your wife, because you're building the marriage. It is so fundamental to this home and the way the children are going to be and generations to come that you're exempt from everything, even from serving with your brothers at arms. Okay? That's how important it is. So it is almost completely essential to spend that first year together at almost any cost. If that is not possible, you should go in knowing that it's going to take a long, long, long time to build security in this marriage. Okay?
That's been the greatest challenge of the relationships that I've been in. But most of the girls that I've broken up with that know me for some time, they do try to come back. I'm like, once when the line is crossed, there's no chance of winning.
Okay. So this is what we want to do. We want to be able to get a career where we can be with our wives for the first year. After that, you can dive into other things. Okay, but we need to build that security. Once that security is built, you're good. Yeah, Jessica, you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I'll ask something that probably a lot of them will relate to. How should I start it? So many questions.
Try in English.
Yeah, I know. the language I know. When the text messaging, I know you're so against it in relationship, but in our day and age, everybody does it. We can tell them not to text till we're blue in the face, but maybe let's tell them again. But on the online dating world, people will start with text messaging, and I get this a lot from my clients too, and when I'm dating. And then it takes so long for them to even move to the phone, and then you have to ask the person out, and the guys are so like they're scared. They're only like just saying how's your day. It's taking them so long to even ask you on a date, you know, so what's your advice for someone that meets in online dating? I tell people just get on the phone as soon as possible and then set a date as soon as possible. I just wanted them to hear that from you too, maybe, and not, otherwise you waste weeks just chatting with someone, then you meet them, and it's like, I just wasted 3 weeks of my life in a texting relationship, you know, and people feel like it was a real relationship. They feel like it was real, so I just wanted to talk about the dangers of too much online communication.
So I'm gonna repeat Jessica's question. Jessica's question is, people today start their relationship, they call it relationships, okay, by texting. And it takes them a long time to move over to phone, and when they move over to phone, it takes them a long time to actually meet. And basically, what do I think about that?
Yeah.
I don't think about that.
Yeah, I knew I was just gonna say,
I don't think about that. The reason is, you don't have a proper way of starting a relationship with texting. There just isn't a right way of doing it. It's as asking me, look, I'm gonna date her sister, and then eventually I wanna date her. How do I do it correctly? Okay, you want me to give you guidelines on doing something that's doomed to fail. Texting is doomed to fail. It's designed to fail. Texting is designed for distance communications, creating a distance between people. When you don't want to talk to somebody personally, you don't want to be intimate with them, you text them. You're asking me, how do I develop intimacy by texting? You don't. It's like asking me, I want to be able to turn my back to my partner and talk to them and make them feel comfortable. How do I do that? The answer is, you don't. The answer is, if you're serious about relationships, if you're looking to get married, you can't play little boy and little girl games. If you want to stay little boy and little girl, then you're not in the marriage arena. Pick your field. What are you playing? Barbie or football? We get the idea? So if you're in the market to get married, bite the bullet. Pick up the phone, call the person. If you want to play games, well, this whole workshop is not for you.
So if they met on online dating, then right away the guy should say, what's your number? And the girl should not get offended. She should give it and not think he's a creep for asking for it so soon.
Nahon. You should listen to your matchmakers. This is why we take matchmakers. Why do we take matchmakers? To cut on the blah blah and the garbage, nahon? If you take a matchmaker and you don't listen to your matchmaker, come over, I'll smack you, you know? I mean, you need to listen to your matchmakers.
So ladies, do not get offended if he asks for your number. It's a good sign. I wanted him to
I wanted.
Matter of fact, if you're not being asked for your phone number,
Yeah.
why do you continue texting?
Exactly.
We get the idea? Okay, questions.
No, I won't say.
One more question.
How about
Yes.
the other question? So you, come on.
Yes.
But sorry, specific, it's not general. So, say if a girl meets a guy and she likes him a lot, likes her back a lot, but he has a child from previous marriage and she doesn't get along with the child. So, what's the best way to make it work, if at all? I know people get married despite everything, but it is a challenge.
Okay. I'm going to repeat the question. The question is, today's market is saturated with divorced people with a child, not divorced people with a child, with children raising other children. Okay, the field is saturated with that. Okay, so there's a good chance if you're slightly older than 24 that you're going to meet a good or a great guy or girl who already are coming with a child into the relationship. What's the correct approach to that? The correct approach to it, if you choose to take that path, is to first build a relationship with the adult. The child is not part of the relationship. First, you build a relationship with the adult. My wife and I first have a relationship between us, and then we have a relationship with our children. And the relationship between us comes first to our relationship with the children. Okay, so if my child really, really needs me and my wife really, really needs me, who's going to get me?
You say the wife?
The wife, every single time. Okay? And vice versa. As a matter of fact, that's a need of the children. The children need the parents to put each other in first place. They'll test you on it. And they'll see if you're going to put them in first place or not. But they need to see that you resist the urge and you put your partner in first place. Going into a relationship where the person already has a child is no different. You first need to be able to enter a relationship where you are each other's first place. Once you are each other's first place, you then, as a couple, slowly and correctly getting the advice and the help of children's education counselors, develop a healthy relationship with the child from the place of bond with each other and authority over the child. That's the formula. It's very simple. It's also simple relatively to do. It's difficult emotionally, but technically it's very simple. You have to make sure you get the help and assistance of people who specialize and know about children's education, where to try to be liked by him and where to draw the lines for him. But that's way later, after you and him decided we're husband and wife. We're gonna be.
But the moment you met him, up until this moment, this child was number one person in his life. So why suddenly he changed his priorities?
Because that's marriage.
Way before marriage.
That is marriage. Marriage has got nothing to do with chronological order. My mother was here way before I met my wife. When I meet my wife, who's number one in my life? Can't hear you.
Why?
Really? But she was here first?
That's how you expect your mother.
We get-
Right, your mom, your dad, I don't know your household, if there was a healthy relationship, your mom wants to see you happy, you put your wife first, it's going to give her that satisfaction if it's a healthy
I'm not doing it for my mom.
No, I'm saying.
I'm doing it for me and for my life.
And that should make your parents happy.
Okay? It's got nothing to do with the logistics. We get the idea? The kid is number two to the marriage at all times. That's the only way to run a healthy marriage. And that's the only way to healthily raise children. A child that's raised in a home where they're first, where the parents appreciate the children more than they appreciate each other, they don't grow up healthy in their minds and souls. They don't. They grow up, they open a nice big fat savings accounts for them and take my business card. Because they'll need me. V'chaval. We get the idea? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my phone number. I would love to receive phone calls with questions. Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to meet again. We're going to meet again, and we're going to welcome you guys again. And this time, you're not going to be selfish. You're going to bring your friends, and you're going to bring your family and brothers and sisters. Whoever is single in your life, you better drag them in here.
Yeah, next time, whoever brings somebody, the person who brings the most will get a prize.
There we go.
Next time.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Laila Tov.